Welcome. So I decided to do a video instead and show you how to set up a portfolio grid and how to associate the projects with the grid. Now we can create as many grids as we want, and we associate projects with the grid through categories or page names. So I have a empty page here. I'm going to go ahead and select a grid like you probably already did. So let's see here, I'm going to select this one as an example. Now, what this does is that it inserts a grid with all the settings that we used in the demo for this particular grid. So, for example, the number of columns, the rollover style, and other similar settings. But it does not insert the projects. So, what we have to do to show projects in the grid is to actually go ahead and create categories and associate the projects with those categories. The categories we then define in the grid so that it pulls in the projects. And we do that here under grid items. So for example, when we start listing the categories, tags, taxonomies, or even the name of the pages and posts, they will appear in the grid. And this gives us full control because it means no matter how many grids we can create, we can always associate different projects with that particular grid. So for example, you could have a portfolio index, and then when you click to visit a project, you could have another grid in there that only shows images in a lightbox. So I've just inserted that. I'm just going to go ahead and update that and save it. And then we're going to go ahead and start creating the categories. Let's go to TM Portfolio here. And I'm just going to go ahead and create a few random categories here. So I'm going to do design, photography, illustration. Now these categories serve two purposes. It's used for the filter menu and used for associating the projects with the grid. So there we go, and then we can start adding a few projects. So I'm going to call this project 1, and I'm going to associate it with the design category. And I scroll down to the custom options for post here, and I switch to grids. Now this is where you can upload the thumbnail that will appear in the grid. And then you can upload a featured image, which would be the featured image of the project, like when you visit it, or the image that appear in the lightbox. And I'm going to show you how to do this. So first we're just going to go ahead and create a project that links to the post itself, or to the project. So we can see that here it links to post. So I'm not going to For now, I'm now going to upload a featured image. I'm going to go ahead and publish that. Then let's create another project. I'm going to call this project 2. This time I'm going to select photography. And again, I'm going to set a grid thumbnail here. Now notice I'm setting a landscape here as an example. But for the featured image to which it will link to in the lightbox, I'm going to set a larger version, a high resolution one, and it's in fact a portrait image, so it can be a different orientation should you want to. So when this image is clicked, it will open this one. And then I'm just going to switch the link to lightbox instead. And we can add a caption should we want to, so I'll just do that. There we go. I've selected my category. I'm going to go ahead and publish this. And then I'm also going to go ahead and add a third project here. So this is project 3. And I'm going to set this to illustration. I'm going to switch to grids again, and I'm going to select a thumbnail. So I'm going to select this one. And this time, just for illustrative purposes, I'm going to set a custom URL, so I'm going to set this to google.com. So you could link to a different project if you wanted, within your grid, a different portfolio, so you have really full control over how the grid functions. So I've set up 3 projects here. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then let's go back to the page where I inserted the grid. and then let's add the categories here. So as you can see, we haven't associated any projects yet with the grid, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm just going to go ahead and start typing the categories we just created. There we go. Now what this means is that the grid will pull in every project in this category and display it in the grid. Now if I want to hide the filter menu, I can do that here, but I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to go ahead and save that, and I'm going to go ahead and update it. And let's take a look at what this looks like. There we go, so I've created my grid and I've associated projects with the categories that appear in the grid, and this is how the filter menu functions as well. So if we click this project now, it will go to the project itself. Obviously I haven't styled it. The second one will open in a lightbox with a caption that we created and with a high resolution image. And this one will go to an external URL. Say we wanted to link it to a different project page or something like that. Now, since you're working with the masonry grid, we can go back to the project, and well, any of these projects, and change the orientation of these. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to do this. So let's go back to the third project. And let's scroll to the bottom here. Switch to grids. And let's just change the thumbnail size here to large landscape. And there we go. And this is how you build a grid and associate the projects with the grid. I hope this helped.